Hello there, Orla here, and welcome to the Mumpreneur Revolution and our training on nailing your ideal client and what this means for your business. Welcome to the introductory session. This is where we're going to discuss what we will cover overall in this training, and we will look at the various elements involved in nailing your ideal client and getting to know your ideal client inside out so that you can speak to them in your marketing. So what we will look at across all trainings is, what's all the fuss about when it comes to ideal clients? Why is the idea of having an ideal client, knowing them inside out and using this information effectively in your marketing, quite possibly the only thing that all business coaches agree on? That's really important. Then we will look at, what does it really mean to nail your ideal client? What information do you need to obtain? How do you obtain that information? And what do you really need to know and how to use this information? We will then look at the role of human behavior in your marketing, because it's not just as simple as you determine who your ideal client is and get to know them, and then you can market to them. You actually have to understand human behavior, understand how people act, what drives them, what triggers them to take action, and to use this in your marketing. We will then move on to market sophistication, and this basically means the mood of the market in relation to the product or service that you offer and how this impacts how you promote it to your ideal client. We will then explore positioning you and your business to appeal to your ideal client, and we will finish by looking at creating new markets or niches. So, let's get started. What's all the fuss about when it comes to ideal clients? Really, ideal clients and knowing your ideal client inside out and finding the right ideal client for you and your business, it's essential. It forms the foundation of your business. And by knowing this information, by spending the time now in investing in getting to know your ideal client so well, it will make everything easier. It makes your marketing easier. It makes your content creation easier. It gives you more confidence when you release new products or services or go out into the marketplace. And it basically breaks down walls. It means that you can speak directly to this person one-on-one and encourage them to take action, i.e., to purchase from you. So knowing your ideal clients is key. It is absolutely everything, and it does not happen overnight. So if you don't quite know your ideal client inside out now, don't worry. Just commit to taking the time to getting to know them and to finding out as much as you possibly can. So let's start with looking at my ideal client. Now, as you know, I work with mumpreneurs who want to build a business around their children that creates a new life for them and their family. It's all about helping you. You are self-motivated, you are hardworking, you are consistently pushing yourself out of your comfort zone, you're growth orientated, but also you are an amazing mom. You genuinely care about being the best mom that you can be, and any time that you spend away from your children has to be spent wisely. So if you are coming to me for advice or support, that has to be time well spent for you. But what I also know is that I'm not your only source of information. I'm not the only place you come to get advice. I know you've got Audible memberships, you read books, you listen to YouTube, you listen to podcasts. You are about becoming the best entrepreneur that you can be and learning to be the best business person that you can be. And I am a part of your journey. I researched my ideal client and I got to know you better by running events for my ideal client, speaking to them one-to-one, listening to what they had to say, and really genuinely getting to know them. And that means that I am continuing to get to know my ideal client. As soon as I feel I've got something mastered and I'm the expert in what you want, your dreams change and your goals change. So I have to continue to grow with you. So learning about your ideal client is going to be a constant journey. You're never going to know everything, but you're going to continue to grow and you're going to continue to grow with your customers. So let's look at what all the fuss about. Really, an ideal client, it's the foundation of your business. It enables you to get to know your clients so well that you can push their buttons without even thinking about it. I want to use a little bit of an example there. Let's say I wanted to encourage my fiance Blair to do something. Recently, I wanted to encourage him to go to town. I wanted to go to town and I wanted to go out for a nice Sunday lunch. So Blair was getting Ulton ready and I was like, do you want to go to town? Do you want to go in and we'll grab a Wagamama's and we'll have a lovely day? And he was like, no. And I couldn't believe he was saying no to a Wagamama's. I was like, why don't you want to go into town? We'll get a Wagamama's. We'll have a lovely lunch. He was like, no, we're not going into Wagamama's because Wagamama's is what you like to do. And he's right. If you ask me any of the following questions, Orla, do you want to get a Starbucks? Orla, do you want to get a Wagamama's? It pushes my buttons and of course I will say yes. So I was approaching it wrong. If I really want to get Blair to do something, I ask him, does he want to get a wine? Does he want to get wine and some cheesy chips or wine and a burger? Because that is what pushes Blair's buttons because we don't have any meat in the house. So if I say to him there's a potential of getting wine, he will drop everything so we can go out and get wine and he can get his meat. So really, by knowing your ideal client, you know what pushes their buttons. You know what encourages them to take action and it enables you to have genuine conversations with them. And by narrowing down your market, you will increase your conversions. And I know that goes against basic maths if you say I'm going to appeal to less people to get more sales. But we live in such a busy world, such a varied world, and the world of commerce has changed and the world of business has changed. It's no longer about appealing to the masses and trying to make everyone happy. It's now about appealing to a niche market, knowing them inside out, reading their minds so you will, but providing exactly what they want and building a stronger business for that niche market. Does that make sense? Great, let's move on. So, how do you decide on your ideal client? Because finding out the information about your ideal client is actually the easy part. The difficult part is deciding on who is the person that I am destined to help. And the simplest way to do this is to take a step back and look at what you offer. Look at the results that you generate, how you or your product transforms someone's life for the better. And I want you to list all of these out. List all of these results or list all of these transformations out. I want you to then consider who wants these results or transformations the most. It's not about how you think needs them the most. It's wrong of us to assume, but it's about who we know wants them. Who can afford what you offer? There is no point in marketing your product or service to an ideal client that cannot afford what you offer. Who can afford what you offer? Who will you enjoy working with? You do not want an ideal client that you won't enjoy working with. So what client will you enjoy working with? That's your ideal client. It's the person that wants what you offer, the results that you offer. It's the person who you can afford to work with in terms of they can afford what you offer. The person you can afford to reach in your marketing. It's all well and good to have an amazing product if you're based in the UK, but if your ideal client is all over in America, you have to think, can I afford to market to them? If not, you probably look somewhere a bit closer, or you're going to master Facebook advertising and pay-per-click advertising to promote to them. Essentially, you have to enjoy working with these people. You have to enjoy working with these people. You're going to be doing this day in, day out. So, the quickest way to work out who your ideal client is, list out the results that you generate, i.e. the transformations, how you change someone's life for the better. Determine who wants these. Ensure they can afford what you offer, that you can afford to reach them in your marketing, and that you'll enjoy working with them. And this is your ideal client. For a lot of us, and for a lot of mompreneurs, your ideal client, it's often an earlier version of you. It's often an earlier version of you. So think about that for a minute. That should make your marketing so much easier. If your ideal client is an earlier version of you, you should know how to speak to them. You should know what's important to them. You should lay yourself bear, you should bring your personality into your business. But for some reason, people still hold back. Not anymore. Through this training, we're going to help you, and future trainings, we're going to help you bring your personality out. Your ideal client is also often an earlier version of someone you used to work for. An earlier version of your boss in your day job. Someone that you're used to dealing with because you've taken your skills and you've brought them out and you're now working for yourself. So in theory, it should be very easy for you to complete this training and to learn a lot more about your ideal client on the basis that you commit to always bringing your personality into your business and realizing that you and what you bring to the table is often what's going to make you stand out from your competition. I think it's important to consider what your ideal client is not. Despite the poor advice given, your ideal client is not the person you think wants or needs what you offer, but you've never spoken to them. I chat to so many people and they say, I'm creating a product or service and that person's going to buy it. But they've never actually spoken to that person. They don't know what they want. They don't know what they care about. They don't know what interests them. But they're now going to try and come into their world and try and sell them something. No, that doesn't work. You have to speak to this person. You have to get out and have conversations and know that they want what you offer. It's not the person that you think can afford what you offer. And also it's not the person that you think can't afford what you offer. Now, I know that one might sound a bit tricky, but basically you cannot make assumptions for people. You're not going to sell somebody in rented accommodation on government assistance a £500,000 car. That's not what you're going to do because they cannot afford that £500,000 car. However, it's not for you to decide that the same person cannot afford a £500 TV. That's up for them to decide. Your job is to work out if they want that £500 TV and if that's going to be the best spend of their money and that's what they want to spend their money on, and hand on heart, you're selling them the best possible TV for their money. Okay, so we've covered the introduction there, what we're going to cover in this training, how to determine who your ideal client is, the simple formula for working out who your ideal client is, why it's so important. It's basically the foundations of your business, who your ideal client often is, and who your ideal client is not. Thank you for listening, and we will see you in the next training.